5, 4, 3. The voice wasn't urgent. It wasn't artificial. It had no echo of desperation. It was calm, confident, almost patient. "Pause that transmission," hissed Vex, first strategist of the Tlalocan Dominion. His breath fogged the edge of the holoscreen. His claws tapped rapidly, nervous, calculating. "Back it up. Replay the last 5 seconds. Slow it down." The technician's fronds hovered over the interface. "Sir, it's already slowed. That's the raw feed." The room fell quiet. All 8 members of the War Council leaned in. 2-1. Black screen. No flare, no sensor spike, no warhead detection. Just stillness. That stillness, the kind that stretches space and time, the kind you feel behind your eyes. "That's not a threat," muttered Vex. "That's a message. A countdown with no explosion. A voice with no urgency. A signal with no source. Rhesus, the counselor of systems and the last surviving architect of the Orion embargo, slowly sat down. He looked smaller than usual. His spines didn't even lift. "I've heard that tone before." "Where?" Vex didn't look away from the screen. "During the fall of Echelon Theta. Right before we lost visual. Right before our ships disappeared. From every channel. Silence. They didn't scream, Vex. They didn't plead. The human on comms just whispered. Said it was necessary. Then everything went black." "You're saying this is the same voice?" "I'm saying." Rhesus paused, swallowing. "They're back," the technician stuttered. "But Earth's gone dark for centuries. No emissaries, no trade, no fleet logs." We hoped they were dead," Rhesus corrected, "but no one confirmed it. Because no one could. The Terran system had sealed itself after the Exodus collapse, cutting ties, detonating the final relay gates, and leaving the galaxy to rot in its own arrogance. Everyone assumed they couldn't recover. That whatever war had burned their homeworld had also crippled their military. They weren't silent because they were broken. They were silent because they were busy." Vex turned to the central feed. "Pull up all known Terran ship designs. Cross-reference with this silhouette." He motioned to the final freeze frame, grainy and flickering, but unmistakable. A warship, angular, brutal, blindingly bright with white hull plating. No registration code. No diplomatic lights. No orbiting. Escorts. Just a single line of text under the image. We waited. No Empire insignia. No declaration of allegiance. Just that. "I don't like this," muttered Kellar, the youngest tactician present. "They're not announcing a return. They're reminding us we forgot." "Worse," said Rhesus. "They're showing us they remember everything." "And we don't even know what we did," Kellar replied. Vex's claws curled into fists. "We built empires while they rebuilt graves. We thought they'd fade into myth. Instead, they sent a whisper." The technician blinked at his console. "Sir, another signal just pinged us. Different voice this time. Male. Younger. Play it." A soft hum filled the room. "Then, don't look for coordinates. You won't find them. Don't prepare defenses. You won't see us coming. This isn't war. It's conclusion." The voice cut out. Then the countdown began again. 5, 4. This time, no one dared interrupt it. 3, 2. Ress's chest trembled. 1. The screen flashed. Not with fire. Not with impact. With names. Thousands. Line. After line of names, Terran, mostly. Lost ships. Destroyed colonies. Civilian vessels. And one final word at the bottom of the screen. Ode. Vex's voice cracked for the first time. "They're collecting debts." A dry rasp cut through the tension. It was Admiral Varnick, who hadn't spoken once until now. "That's not vengeance," he said. That's accounting. Across the outer ring of the galaxy, long dormant systems began going offline. Sentry satellites -dark. Communication nodes silent. Trade stations -unreachable. The technician's voice cracked. We're not detecting weapons. Just power drains. It's them. Rhys stood. They don't need missiles. They're turning the lights off first. He looked around the room, scanning the anxious faces of the Dominion's greatest minds. They're reminding us what silence means. The observation deck trembled slightly, not from an explosion, from a pulse. Somewhere something enormous had moved. A second later, the stars dimmed. Just slightly, but enough. And then a third transmission. The voice was different again. Female, older, wiser. You thought silence was surrender. You misunderstood. We weren't gone. We were becoming. No threats, no demands. Just truth. The feed ended. But one final symbol appeared, a feather, black, burning at the edges. Floating through void. No faction used it. No civilization had ever claimed it, but they all recognized it. Earth's old emblem before the wars, before the alliances, before the silence. It meant only one thing. Humanity had returned, and that was before Earth even responded. The Tlaccan fleet assembled in record time. 5,000 ships, 60 elite dreadnoughts. Orbital ion cannons set along the perimeter like ancient gods watching over their worshippers. The central chamber rotated beneath a golden nebula, still scarred from the last time Earth's name had been spoken in fear. But no one said Earth now. They said it. Have we traced the signal's origin? Vex barked. No. Every time we triangulate, it reroutes through an extinct system. Human tech shouldn't even be capable of that, a comms officer replied. Rhys entered behind him, throwing a data slate onto the table. Forget the signal. This is what you should worry about. Everyone turned. It wasn't a map. It was a list. More names, more Terran ships once thought destroyed, each with a hidden tag code. Not military IDs, medical vessels, rescue fleets, terraforming arcs. And beside each name, the alien species responsible for their disappearance. Are these? Yes, Rhys said. Records we buried. Accidents we covered. Raids we ignored. Every crime the Council whitewashed during humanity's silence. And now they've unsealed it all, Vex whispered. How? Kellar's voice shook. Sir, they didn't just unseal it. They broadcast it. Every fringe colony received this list 20 minutes ago. What? Verex's pulse climbed. Even non-military zones? Especially non-military. Zones, civilians, students, farmers, merchants. A long pause. They're not attacking our armies, Rhys said grimly. They're attacking our reputation. In the outer edges of the core worlds, protests erupted within hours. Alien civilians, young, proud, miseducated, suddenly realized they hadn't won a war. They'd inherited a cover-up, and Earth had waited in that silence, listening, watching. Status on the Sphalton Concord? Vex asked. Refused to mobilize, Kellar said. Their envoy said, quote, we won't fight ghosts with old blood, and the Kraith. Dominion? They've begun retreating from Terran border sectors, quietly. Cowards. No, sir. Survivors. Rhys stared at the center of the war table, where the galaxy's tactical overlay spun with eerie calm. I told you we didn't. Know what they were doing, their silence. You didn't believe me. I still don't, Vex snapped. Then let me show you. Rhys raised his wristband and tapped an authorization seal. The lights flickered. Security protocols barked warnings in 12 languages. Unauthorized access to Council Archive Vault 7A, Rhys entered his override. then silence. A single holographic file loaded above the table. Title: Project Gravewalker. The chamber's heat dropped noticeably. No one spoke. "What's this?" Vex asked. "The last classified file we had on Earth's final colony," Rhesus replied. "A system so irradiated it was declared unsalvageable. Everyone thought the humans died inside. We quarantined it. We declared it a dead world. Did they survive?" Rhesus tapped the final node. The feed came online. Not images. Not text. Footage. A helmet cam human. Crackling. The first 30 seconds were shaky, soundless. Then a voice broken but resolute. "Day 3887. Oxygen stable. We lost Sierra Base this morning. 16 families gone. I told them we'd keep going. I told my daughter we would make it through. She believed me. So I have to make it true." A flickering pause. "Then, if anyone finds this, we weren't weak. We didn't vanish. We changed. And when the stars turn cold and you hear a whisper, on your signal feed, that's us." The footage ended. The war table dimmed. No one moved. Rhesus turned slowly. "Do you understand now? We thought we won because they stopped speaking. But they spoke to themselves for 100 years. They trained in silence, bled in silence, raised children under ash, buried cities without monuments. And they still built ships." Kellar whispered, "They didn't just survive. They evolved." "Into what?" Rhesus didn't answer. Because he didn't know. He only knew that whatever returned wasn't Earth in the old sense. It was something colder, cleaner, simpler. A species that had accepted death and come back without sentiment, without need. Without permission, Vex tried to regroup. "Fine. They're stronger. They're smarter. But we still have 5,000 ships. We still control the central lanes. We still—" "Sir," Kellar interrupted, "3 of our ships just vanished from Relay Point 42. Destroyed?" "No, vanished. All 3 feeds went black mid-sentence. There was no energy burst, no enemy contact. Sabotage?" "Sir, one of them was unmanned, a drone battleship. They just stopped existing." On cue, another officer yelled, "Sector 7 has gone dark. What now?" The technician swallowed. Not an attack, a message. He tapped the interface. A new symbol appeared, a black sun, half eclipsed. And under it, "You forgot who you buried." The screen faded. Not into darkness, but into a mirror feed showing a massive Terran vessel hovering at the edge of known space. It didn't fire, it didn't move, it simply watched. Until it vanished, not jumped, vanished, no flare, no gate, no detectable propulsion, just gone. Vex stepped back from the table. For the first time in his career, his voice cracked like glass. "What kind of ship doesn't leave a trail?" Kellar answered, barely audible. "The kind that doesn't need to run." An hour later, council sectors across 5 galaxies went quiet. No explosions, no invasions, just silence. And silence, they were learning, was the sound of humanity arriving. Across hundreds of planetary systems, children looked up at their night skies and saw something their grandparents only whispered about: white light. Artificial stars, ships that hung too still to be satellites. Some thought they were hallucinations. Others knew better. Because each one carried the mark, the burning feather. No threat followed, no warning, just presence. The humans were back. But this time, they weren't here to negotiate. They were here to be seen. And what terrified the council more than anything wasn't that humanity had changed. It was that they hadn't. That same quiet fire was still in them. That same refusal to explain themselves. That same terrifying calm. The countdown had already Ended. This was the reaction. And no one, not even the gods of this galaxy, could stop what came next. The warlord laughed, a deep, guttural noise that vibrated through his plated armor and echoed across the command deck of the Karaz Dominion's flagship. Before him hovered the image of the Terran vessel white, almost surgical in design. Clean. Lines. No ornamentation. No visible weapons. Is that it? He scoffed. That is what the Council fears? A murmur of approval ran through his officers. 20 warships flanked his own, each larger than the Terran cruiser. He could take it out with a whisper. All he needed was an excuse. Open channel, he barked. A technician tapped the console, and the comms line blinked green. No encryption. Just open air between them and the alien anomaly. Human vessel. The warlord announced, pacing slowly, voice thick with venom. You are trespassing in a restricted military zone. Identify your command structure or prepare to be eradicated. Silence. A flicker passed through the feed. Then, this is Observation Ship 7. We're not here for you. Leave, the warlord grinned. So they still think they can bluff. He motioned to the weapons officer. Target their engines. Minimal damage. Let's see how fast they beg. The weapon lock. The trigger was pulled. The Terran ship didn't move, and yet the plasma bolt never reached it. The bolt froze mid-space. Flickering. Spinning in place like a caged animal trapped in stasis. What the? It's not us, Commander, the weapons officer stammered. Our systems are stable. That's on their end. On the screen, the human ship rotated slightly, as if tilting its head. Another voice came through. This one was male. Soft. Precise. You fired first. Now we calibrate. No heat signature. No visible movement. And yet, the warlord's flagship began to lose power. Not all at once, system by system. Controls went dead. Life support flickered. Targeting reticles vanished from the screens. One of the junior officers screamed, "They're in our system, Colonel. They're rewriting our controls in real time." The warlord blinked. Impossible. No ship has that kind of "we do." That calm voice again, echoing directly inside the bridge. Not through speakers, through walls, through suits. Someone. VOMITED. The youngest technician tried to reach for the comm. Override. His body locked up, paralyzed mid-reach. His eyes flickered white. For 2 seconds, he was utterly still. Then he whispered, "Sample extraction complete," and collapsed. The ship's internal lights shut off. Every backup system failed, and then, without any transition, the warlord's entire fleet could see. What the Terran ship was doing. It wasn't targeting them. It was recording. And projecting, across nearby sectors, thousands of alien vessels. Civilian and military alike were now seeing a live feed of the warlord's humiliation. They were being made an example. Not annihilated. Dissected. A new message appeared in white letters across every fleet screen. You mistook silence for absence. You mistook restraint for weakness. You mistook observation for fear. The Terran ship fired no weapons. It just released them. The stasis field fell away. The plasma bolt launched. Forward again, and curved, redirected straight back toward the warlord's own. Flagship. Impact. Hull breach. Then black. The warlord awoke. On the floor of his shattered command deck. Lights dim. Only 6 crew survived. No systems working. Outside the viewport floated the same. Terran ship. Untouched. UNMOVING. Unimpressed. The voice returned. This wasn't our fleet. This wasn't our army. This wasn't even a defense protocol. This was a sample response from one of our non-combat vessels. Remember that. The image cut. The ship vanished again into nothing. And for the Kindon, first time in 37 years, The warlord wept. News of the encounter spread like fire across black silk. The footage had been embedded into every alien military database. Not hacked. Inserted. By the time Council Command tried to scrub it, millions of officers had already downloaded personal copies, some for fear, some for respect. Most for proof, because what they'd seen wasn't aggression. It was clarity. The humans were not here to demand surrender. They weren't even here to speak. They were here to measure. Back in Dominion space, Vex smashed a holotable in half with his claws. How? How did they disable a fleet without firing a weapon? Crises looked older by the hour, because we thought like conquerors. They think like biologists. Biologists? They didn't attack. They observed. They responded like a lab technician handles a disease cell. Isolate, record, neutralize. They're not here to win a war. They're here to study the end of one. Kellar entered with a grim face. Sir, we've analyzed the code left behind. In the warlord's flagship, it's not standard malware. It's instructional. Instructional? Vex hissed. It left notes, comments, suggestions. It's as if the human AI wanted us to learn from our failure. Mocking us? No. Teaching us. That's when Crises turned cold. They're not invading. They're evaluating. He pulled up one more screen. This time, it wasn't war footage. It was a map. But the map didn't show military targets. It showed schools. Hospitals. Monasteries. Libraries. All gone silent in the last 24 hours. No destruction. Crises whispered. Just absence. Vex stared. They're wiping memory. Or rewriting it. Kellar tapped a blinking icon in the corner of the map, a Terran marker. Just one. Not near a capital. Not near a weapon cache. Hovering above a moon with no known resources. Vex squinted. What's there? Kellar's voice turned hollow. An unmarked orphan archive from the pre-council era. It holds species records, genetic logs, cultural data. And it's empty now. Everything inside it gone. Crises closed his eyes. They're not just reclaiming territory. They're reclaiming truth. Later that cycle, every council feed went offline for 7 seconds. When it came back, the only visible message was, "We cataloged your crimes. We memorized your lies. We studied in silence. We are not here to be welcomed back. We are here to end the myth of your control." One by one, across the galaxy, alien factions began erasing their own propaganda. Warlords decommissioned fleets. Civilizations turned inward because the truth was no longer hidden. The lie wasn't that humanity had vanished. The lie was that anyone else ever stood a chance, and that was still only the sample. The chamber was ancient older than most of the species sitting inside it. Built into the hollowed-out bones of a long-dead moon. The Council Hall of Accord had hosted over 12,000 interstellar treaties. Its curved ceiling, embossed with star maps and symbols of peace, had once made beings from every corner of the galaxy feel safe. Now, it felt like a crypt. Vex stood at the center of the circle, armor scorched from 100 retracted battle alerts. His voice boomed into silence. They've made no demands. No terms, no territory claims. How are we supposed to negotiate with that? No answer. Crises, seated across from him, leaned forward. Maybe that's the point. They don't want a seat at the table, said Kellar. They want to burn the table down. The room fell quiet again. The Terran signals had stopped 2 days ago. No more disappearances. No more mysterious ship sightings. Just a thick, heavy pause, but that pause felt more dangerous than any battlefront. Like the galaxy was holding its breath while Earth rewound the past and sharpened it. Then, without warning, the center dais lit up. A projection formed. No animation. No logo, no official seal. Just a simple, unassuming Terran woman. No armor, no throne, dressed in black, hair tied back. Skin pale, face unreadable. She spoke with no introduction. You built stories around our silence. You called us extinct. Weak, mad, you were wrong. The room tensed. We did not return for war. War is primitive. It's short. It's loud. And it always favors the ones who control the retelling. This is not war. This is closure. The hologram expanded. Behind her, visual archives flickered to life familiar and damning. Ships, cities, orphaned colonies, peace envoys slaughtered, human civilians vaporized mid-rescue attempts, species that had signed neutrality pacts then ambushed medical vessels anyway. Vex shouted, "This is ancient history. You can't bring centuries-old events into modern diplomacy." Her eyes didn't blink. You wrote history while we buried children. And now the dead are witnesses. Another projection formed, a massive database of war crimes not committed by humans, but against them, all scrubbed from council records. Each line item stamped with a new, cold word, verified. Killar whispered, "They've turned memory into a weapon." Rhys stood. "And this time, it can't be erased. We are not here to be feared. We are not here to be followed. We are here to correct the ledger. We are not your enemy. But we will not be your myth." She stepped aside, and the scene behind her changed. It was Earth. Alive. But not the Earth the galaxy remembered. Skies pulsed with energy grids that shifted like sentient auroras. Oceans gleamed with silent carriers beneath their surface. Entire mountain ranges bore the scars of orbital bombardment, and the precision of reconstruction. And orbiting above all of it the real fleet, hundreds of vessels. Not crude, not overly large. Elegant. Balanced. Each ship radiating one message without ever speaking. We learned from everyone. Each one a hybrid of technologies the galaxy never thought compatible. Energy absorption plating from Tlocken, war cruisers, jump signatures once unique to the Kraith Dominion. AI coordination even Rhys didn't recognize. They hadn't stolen from other civilizations. They had surpassed them. Rhys whispered, "They didn't just come back. They finished evolving." The woman's voice returned. "We welcome truth. We offer peace. But only if it starts with acknowledgement. Your empires were built on omission. We are the footnote you hoped no one would read." She stepped away. Then came the final message, spoken not by her, but by someone else, a man, human. His voice didn't echo. It anchored. "To those who killed without remembering, this is your memory. To those who rose on lies, this is your correction. To those who watched in silence, this is your mirror. We do not seek your destruction. We seek your accuracy." Vex tried to speak. Couldn't. Killar tried to move. Couldn't. Their screens locked on one final word. Submit? But not in conquest. In truth, that was the offer. Earth would not destroy the galaxy. It would correct the record. The systems Earth disabled were now powering back up, rewritten, not ruined. The war fleets weren't attacking, they were holding position. Waiting. Not for surrender, for clarity. Across the council, a ripple began. Species rose, some in shame, some in awe. Others quietly in relief, because the ones who had feared Earth the most were often the ones who knew Earth had always fought with restraint, and restraint was ending, unless history was finally told the way it happened, on Earth's terms. For the first time in known galactic existence, the Council voted unanimously not to resist, not to retaliate, but to acknowledge. Records were unsealed. Memorials rebuilt. Old flags lowered. And through it all, not a single human ship fired a shot, because they didn't need to. They already held the galaxy's most powerful weapon, the truth. And this time, no one would rewrite history again. The silence had ended, but not in war. In correction and humanity? Humanity didn't just return, they returned as editors of reality. The myth was over. The memory had begun.